Imagine standing trackside as something approaches, not just a train, but a machine so massive it makes the earth tremble before it arrives. Steel wheels taller than humans, boilers generating pressures 20 times atmospheric force, engines producing more horsepower than entire factories. These aren't just locomotives. They're monuments to eras when bigger meant better, when engineers solved impossible problems through sheer scale. We think of trains as transportation, efficient, predictable, boring even. But scattered across railway history exist machines that transcend utility. Behemoths so powerful they required reinforced tracks, so long they couldn't navigate standard curves, so legendary that decades after retirement, crowds still gather just to witness them move. Today, I'll reveal 10 of the largest, most powerful locomotives ever constructed. From steam giants conquering Appalachian grades to modern hybrid beasts crossing frozen Arctic wastes, each represents engineering, married to ambition, where failure meant operational catastrophe. The final locomotive holds distinction no machine may ever challenge. Largest operating steam locomotive in history. So powerful it moved freight trains without helper engines up mountain grades. So beloved that 75 years after construction, one still runs, drawing crowds of thousands. Stay to the end, because what American engineers built during World War II didn't just haul freight. It became legend on rails. Let's begin. Number 10. Siemens Vectron Dual Mode, XL, Germany. In 2020, when European railways demanded flexibility without compromising environmental standards, German engineering delivered answer. The Siemens Vectron Dual Mode XL, hybrid locomotive capable of operating on electrified tracks and traditional diesel lines seamlessly. Stretching 92 feet long, weighing 270,000 pounds, this machine houses two complete propulsion systems. One side packs modern, high-performance diesel engine. The other holds converters and transformers drawing power from overhead electric lines. The 16-cylinder V engine delivers 3,200 horsepower. But real magic happens during transition. When entering electrified segment, diesel engine shuts down. Electric system takes over. The switch occurs so smoothly, engineers barely notice. Inside the cab, everything is digital. Real-time system readouts, speed automation, regenerative braking feeding energy back to grid when slowing. On diesel, it produces deep, rich growl. In electric mode, it glides almost silently. Visually distinctive with sleek metallic paint schemes, LED headlights, futuristic body slicing through fog and snow. Currently operating in Germany, Austria, Sweden, Hungary, primarily for long-haul cross-border freight operations. The flexibility it offers has led to widespread adoption by logistics operators seeking reduced costs and improved efficiency without sacrificing power. That's Vectron Dual Mode XL, where hybrid technology conquered European rails. Number 9. South African Railways Class, 25, South Africa. In 1953, South African railways faced challenge few railway systems confronted: how to operate steam locomotives across Karoo Desert, where water scarcity and brutal heat destroyed conventional engines. The solution emerged from collaboration between North British Locomotive Company and Henschel, the Class 25, featuring revolutionary condensing steam system that recycled steam back into water, feeding it back to boiler. This innovation allowed the Class 25 to run nearly 600 miles without refueling. Incredible feat for steam engine. Measuring 112 feet, including massive tender, weighing close to 460,000 pounds, the size was necessary to house additional pipework, condenser units, reinforced boiler, massive coal and water reserves. The tender looked futuristic, sleek, streamlined, resembling passenger coach more than traditional support car. Steam engine operated at pressures 20 times atmospheric, generating power needed to haul heavy freight through brutal heat and barren landscapes. The 484-wheel arrangement provided both power and flexibility, handling rough terrain and curves with surprising ease. For years, Class 25 was pride of South Africa's freight and passenger lines. Even after diesel and electric locomotives took over, many remained in service into 1980s. Several units were converted to Class 25NC variant, removing condensing gear for use in water-accessible regions. That's Class 25, where steam learned to survive in desert. Number 8. China, DF11G, China. When China needed locomotive for long-distance passenger operations in regions lacking electrified rail, Chishuyan Locomotive Works delivered answer in 2004. The DF11G, twin-unit diesel-electric designed for massive passenger trains. Together, two permanently connected units measure 144 feet total length, weigh about 680,000 pounds. Each unit houses V16 diesel engine, combining for more than 6,400 horsepower. The enormous size wasn't just about packing more power. Engineers extended frame to improve weight distribution and traction, critical at high speeds. And high speed is where this locomotive shines, regularly reaching speeds over 100 miles per hour. From outside, the DF11G is bold and aerodynamic. Wedge-shaped nose, dual headlights, sleek profile cutting through air with minimal resistance. Engine produces deep rumbling tone you can feel in chest long before train arrives. Today, DF11G still runs long-distance routes between China's largest cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Harbin. Even with rise of high-speed electric rail, this workhorse continues serving vital connections in remote or partially electrified regions. The DF11G proved so reliable, it inspired newer generations of diesel locomotives throughout China, setting benchmark for modern, long-haul passenger operations. That's DF11G, where Chinese engineering built speed and endurance. Number 7. GE AC6000CW, United States. In mid-1990s, when American railroads demanded more power, more efficiency, General Electric answered with something that looked over the top even by U.S. standards. The AC6000CW, introduced 1995. For a time, it held title of most powerful diesel-electric locomotive in commercial production worldwide. At 75 feet long, weighing roughly 432,000 pounds, this machine had one mission: pull extremely heavy freight across long distances. The name says it all: AC for alternating current traction, 6,000 for mind-blowing 6,000 horsepower output. That muscle came from custom-built V16 engine displacing over 7,000 liters, powering electric traction motors capable of hauling over 100 loaded rail cars. The locomotive's raw force was so great that during testing, some companies had to reinforce tracks. The engine, GE's 7HDL16, was specially developed for this model, marking significant evolution in AC traction technology. Visually aggressive, bold paint schemes in yellow, red, blue, depending on railroad, combined with square muscular design and reinforced cab. Sound at full throttle like rolling thunderstorm. Deep, continuous, impossible to ignore. Rail giants like Union Pacific and CSX were biggest users, but AC6000CW didn't remain in production long. High maintenance costs, fuel consumption, system complexity led to gradual replacement. That's AC6000CW, where 6,000 horses pulled America's heaviest loads. Number 6. Bombardier IORE, Sweden and Norway. Unveiled in 2000 by Bombardier Transportation, the IORE is one of toughest and most powerful locomotives in active service today. Designed specifically to endure brutal extremes of northern Europe, operating on Malmbanen iron ore line between Kiruna, Sweden, and Narvik, Norway. Along this frozen route, snow, ice, sub-zero temperatures are norm. The IORE consists of two permanently coupled units, giving massive total length of 154 feet, weight around 794,000 pounds. That oversized frame ensures traction, power, perfect weight distribution even on steep grades and icy tracks. Each unit features 6 powered axles, total of 12, maximizing grip even in most hostile conditions. Electric motors produce eye-watering 10,800 horsepower, all powered by renewable hydroelectric energy from local sources. This makes IORE not just powerful, but environmentally clean. Visually hard to miss. Bright red livery, muscular profile, powerful LED headlights, cutting striking figure against white backdrop of Arctic snow. When it moves, combination of electric hum and metal on ice creates soundtrack unlike anything else on rails. An IORE unit typically travels over 2.5 million miles during lifespan without major issues, equivalent to circling Earth 100 times. Each full consist hauls up to 8,000 metric tons of iron ore in single trip. That's IORE, where Arctic conditions met unstoppable force. Number 5. Allegheny H8, United States. Imagine locomotive so powerful it was built to conquer steepest grades in Appalachian mountains, pulling hundreds of tons of coal through tight curves, wet tracks, relentless terrain. That was mission of Allegheny H8. Built in 1941 by Lima Locomotive Works for Chesapeake and Ohio Railway, this monster stretched impressive 125 feet in length, weighed over 1 million pounds when fully loaded. Designed as articulated steam locomotive with 2-6-6-6 wheel configuration, 2 sets of 6 driving wheels each, separated by guiding wheels at front and rear. This setup allowed it to tackle sharp curves while delivering brute force despite size that seemed almost too large for any track. Massive boiler operated with pressure 20 times atmospheric, producing enough steam to unleash staggering 7,500 horsepower. That strength allowed H8 to haul trains up mountainous grades without helper engines, nearly unheard of for the time. Capable of pulling up to 160 loaded freight cars, even on sharp inclines. But performance was just part of appeal. The Allegheny was visual and auditory spectacle, piercing whistle echoing through foggy hills, towering plumes of steam, rhythmic pounding of massive wheels creating scene straight from movie. Despite success, Age of Steam was nearing end. By 1950s, diesel-electric locomotives began replacing these giants. Today, only 2 survive, one preserved at Henry Ford Museum in Michigan. That's Allegheny H8, where steam conquered Appalachian mountains. Number 4. PRR S1, the Big Engine, United States. Unveiled to public in 1939, the Pennsylvania Railroad S1, famously known as the Big Engine, was one of most ambitious, eccentric, visually striking locomotives ever to operate on American rails, stretching astounding 140 feet, weighing over 575,000 pounds. The S1 held title of longest and heaviest passenger steam locomotive ever built in United States. The size was so extreme it couldn't negotiate tight curves on many tracks, ran best on long, straight lines, but struggled in yards or twisty routes. Under the hood, equally extreme, boiler operated at 20 times atmospheric pressure, feeding pistons connected to unique 6-4-4-6 wheel arrangement, one of rarest steam configurations ever built. With rated power output around 6,500 horsepower, S1 was capable of reaching speeds over 100 miles per hour. But what truly turned heads was appearance. The S1 didn't look like steam engine, it looked like something from future. Industrial designer Raymond Loewy gave it streamlined Art Deco look. Curved metal skirting, low-profile nose, polished finishes made it centerpiece of 1939 New York World's Fair. Unfortunately, future came with problems. Only one S1 was ever built. Massive size made it difficult to maintain and operate. Long, rigid frame simply wasn't practical for most rail network. It was officially retired in 1946 and eventually scrapped. That's PRR S1, where Art Deco met steam power spectacularly. Number 3. Soviet AA-21, Soviet Union. When it comes to ambitious, oversized engineering, few nations went bigger than Soviet Union. In 1934, that ambition gave birth to AA-21, one of most extreme steam locomotives ever constructed. Goal: the largest, most powerful steam engine in world, regardless of cost, practicality, or maintenance. And large it was, stretching 135 feet, weighing around 550,000 pounds. But most mind-blowing detail, it featured unprecedented 4-14-4 wheel configuration. That's 20 driving wheels, more than any other steam locomotive in history. Logic behind madness was distributing weight across more axles to reduce track wear and increase tractive effort. Boiler operated at 20 times atmospheric pressure, driving massive system delivering around 4,200 horsepower. While not most powerful on paper as some American locomotives, engineering complexity was staggering. Here's reality. It was impractical from day one. Locomotive couldn't handle curves, required special tracks, was nearly impossible to maintain, had difficulty operating even under ideal conditions. Eventually, project was abandoned. Only one AA-21 was ever built. Today, that lone unit survives as museum piece in Russian Railway Museum in St. Petersburg, where it stands as symbol of both Soviet engineering ambition and overreach. People from around the world visit just to see it in person. That's AA-21, where Soviet ambition built 20-wheeled monument to excess. Number 2. EMD DDA40X Centennial, United States. In 1969, Union Pacific Railroad turned 100 years old. Instead of just throwing party, they decided to make history with diesel-electric locomotive unlike anything world had ever seen. The EMD DDA40X, better known as Centennial. To this day, it holds record as most powerful diesel-electric locomotive ever built. Designed and manufactured by Electromotive, division of General Motors, Centennial stretched 98 feet, tipped scales at around 600,000 pounds. But what made it truly monstrous was what sat inside. 2 separate V16 diesel engines, each pumping out 3,300 horsepower for combined output of 6,600 horsepower. That kind of power meant Centennial could pull over 150 loaded freight cars on its own across punishing terrain in American West. The idea was simple: replace 2 standard locomotives with one. Less maintenance, more efficiency, better fuel economy over long distances. With 8 powered axles, it had excellent traction for steep grades and long, uninterrupted runs. Sound. Imagine 2 diesel engines roaring in sync. Deep, guttural growl you could feel through ground before you ever saw a train. When Centennial passed by, you didn't just watch it, you experienced it. Union Pacific ordered 47 units. Although most were retired by 1980s due to system complexity and high operating costs, several have been preserved. That's Centennial, where dual engines celebrated century of American railroading. Number 1. Union Pacific Big Boy, United States. We've reached the top, and here there's no debate. The Union Pacific Big Boy is, to this day, most iconic, most powerful, most respected steam locomotive in history of railroading. Built between 1941 and 44 by American Locomotive Company, Big Boy wasn't just created to move freight. It was designed to conquer mountains, challenge limits of engineering, become living legend. Measuring incredible 132 feet long, weighing over 1.2 million pounds when fully loaded with tender, Big Boy was engineered specifically to handle rocky mountains, particularly tough grades of Sherman Hill between Wyoming and Utah. And here's remarkable part: designed to do it without help of additional locomotives. Steam system operated at pressures 20 times higher than sea level, generating up to 6,300 horsepower. Used 4884 wheel configuration, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels, in articulated frame plus leading and trailing wheels for guidance. This gave it flexibility to handle curves better than size would suggest. Despite massive weight, Big Boy could hit speeds over 80 miles per hour, astounding for steam engine of its size, hauling heavy loads up steep inclines. That kind of performance made it a logistical dream for Union Pacific throughout 1940s and 50s. Only 25 Big Boys were ever built, numbered 4,000 to 4,024. The name Big Boy came from factory worker who chalked it onto side of first completed unit. The nickname stuck. Most remarkable part: in 2019, Union Pacific restored Big Boy number 4014 to full operational condition, making it largest steam locomotive in world still running today. It now tours across United States, drawing massive crowds. When Big Boy rolls by, ground shakes. Steam clouds fill sky. Metallic clatter of massive wheels blends with shriek of whistle, transporting you straight back to golden age of steam. It's not just machine, it's living history roaring down rails. There may never be another locomotive like it. That's Big Boy, where American engineering built immortal giant. 10 locomotives, 10 monuments to eras when railways demanded power beyond imagination. From South African steam engines surviving desert heat to Arctic electric giants hauling iron ore through frozen wilderness. From Soviet experimental monsters to American streamlined Art Deco dreams, these machines proved that limitations existed only until engineers decided otherwise. The next time you see freight train rolling past, consider this. Behind that locomotive might be lineage stretching back to machines that moved mountains, crossed continents, redefined what rails could carry. Each represented technological revolution, steam to diesel electric to modern hybrid, each generation building on lessons learned from giants that came before. These locomotives teach us that progress measures itself in tons hauled, grades conquered, distances covered. That engineering ambition sometimes creates monuments more lasting than the industries they served. That the best machines don't just perform tasks, they inspire wonder. That's the gift of railway giants. They proved that with enough pressure, sufficient horsepower, and proper engineering, even mountains become temporary obstacles rather than permanent boundaries. And occasionally, when preserved with care and operated with reverence, legends continue rolling.